Lab. We're back into guitar amps. Got a little Fender 5F1 Champ kit type amplifier. Fella built it, turned it on, went up in a ball of smoke. So let's take a look. It's probably something simple. It'll be a good repair video. Here we go. Here she is, a little Champ amp. I've got the tubes removed, giving her a little visual inspection. Construction looks great, but there is old Smokey the resistor. That should be, I believe, around a 470 ohm resistor. This feeds the cathode of the 6v6 tube. So what I'm going to do first off is remove that guy, and we're going to run an external resistor, put the tubes in, bring it up on a variac, and see if I can smoke the new resistor. Alright, what I did is I put a 1K resistor, 2-watter, in line with the cathode. I also replaced the 6v6, because if that resistor was smoking, more than likely something's wrong with this tube and it's pulling too much current. So I put in an old stock Tung-Sol, bringing it up on a variac. I'm going to monitor the current through the tube with this amp meter. I'm also paying attention to the current on the variac. About 50 volts. Not drawing any excessive current. Hopefully we'll start seeing the current through the tube here. I'm on the 200 milliamp scale. Current's still looking good over here. Oh, and there she comes. About 75 volts input. Don't see any smoke. Good sign. So there is about 100 volts applied. So you can see we're a little shy on the normal operating current. But now you got to envision there was a half-watt 470 ohm resistor going to that cathode, which was severely underrated for the current going through that tube. I've been seeing that a lot in these new kits. You want to install something like a 2 to 5 watt resistor, and 470 ohms is way too low. Because right now I am at 100 volts input. We're drawing 26 milliamps. So now I'm going to unplug the amp. We're going to go direct. And there's line voltage, about 28 milliamps. That's almost perfect for this amp with the high voltage that's applied. So you know what? I'm going to leave that in there, and let's get some audio through this thing, take a look at it on the scope. So it looks like we're going to hold off. I'm putting this thing on the scope because I just noticed if I pulled this audio jack back, bring up the volume, there's nothing. Still have no output. It's not smoking, but there's no output. So I thought, well, maybe we better see if there's any plate voltage on the 12AX7. So the high voltage comes in through these 200K resistors and goes to the preamp tube, right? Got nothing there. Nothing there, and this is the feed point that goes over to the power supply. Nothing, right? So that high voltage comes over here to this 22K resistor, and look at there. So I'm guessing that there is a missing wire from the 22K resistor over to that point of those 200K resistors. So I'll power it down, we'll buzz it out, and if it's missing, we'll install a wire. And maybe then it'll work. Alright, it's powered down. I checked, there's no DC voltage sitting here ready to poke me. So you should have continuity between the junction of these 200K resistors over here to the 22K. And you can see we have nothing. So let's add a wire and see if my high voltage returns to the 12AX7. So the 1K resistor is now permanently installed, and I added the little jumper from the 22K resistor over to the 200K resistors to give high voltage to the 12AX7. So let's fire it up and see if we got high voltage and see if we have sound. Alright, before we test, what's the CD of the night? Angel, In the Beginning. Do you guys remember this group by chance? Very cool stuff. I used to listen to it when I was a kid, And I think this album came out in the 90s. It's the last, but it's a great CD. Alright, back to the repair. If I play that too long, I'll get popped for copyright and ruin my night. Well, here we go. The amp's powered up. Use my finger as an audio source. Bring up the volume. There she is. Sounds like an amplifier. I bet you it's fixed. But I would like to take a look at it with a scope and an audio generator before I finish the rest of this wine. Alright, here's the typical test setup. Got the oscillating television. This time we're using the speaker as a load. The Leader LAG25 audio generator. Checking the signal, we'll look at it on the scope. There she is. Working great. I would assume the little champ is fixed. Well, there you go. A very quick champ repair. Unfortunately, you know, when you build these kits, things can be missed, like that wire, right? And you're like, hey, I ain't got any output, what do I do? And it's an easy thing to miss because that wire actually goes underneath the board. So you wouldn't even know it was missing. The other thing is, guys, and I'm not trying to pick on JJ, but I seem to see a lot of defective JJ tubes right out of the box, especially the 5Y3 rectifiers. I've had some of those that cut on and off. Sorry, JJ. D-Lab doesn't like your tubes. See ya.